Okay, so John Wick, Chapter 4, a movie for people who are fans of action, dogs, and well-made suits. So just on the off chance that you clicked on this video without having watched the previous three John Wick films, let me fill you in on what the series is about. The title character, John Wick, is a retired hitman. And years ago, he got out of the assassin game because he fell in love and got married. And then, unfortunately, his wife gets sick and she dies. And then a few months after her death, a puppy is delivered to his door that it turns out his wife had arranged for that delivery before she died. And she wanted him to have something that he could love and some companionship now that she was going to be gone. And then the dog ends up getting killed by some gangsters, which causes John Wick to go on a revenge killing spree in order to get justice for this dog, which was like the last link he had to his dead wife. And that's the first movie. And then John Wick's 2 and 3 are about the fallout from that decision for him to go out and seek revenge. And then there's like a domino effect that then ends up happening, which leads us to John Wick Chapter 4, which just came out this past weekend. All right, so let's get to the movie review. Now, first off, I want to say that I'm a big fan of the John Wick series. I love Keanu Reeves, and I love a well-constructed action sequence, so I thought these movies were great. First one is by far my favorite. The second one is my least favorite, and then the third one is about on par with this fourth one. So overall, I would give the series as a whole a 3 out of 5 stars. So like it's good, fun entertainment. It's not like too deep, but it's like it's a nice movie watching experience. Anyway, this film, Chapter 4, starts out with John Wick has decided that he is going to take out the High Table, which is the ruling council of this assassin underworld that the movie, showcases. And to do that, he's teamed up with Lawrence Fishburne, who plays the Bowery King, who was featured in the other films. And then Ian McShane, who plays Winston, who is the manager of the Continental in New York City, the assassin hotel, right? That we've also seen in the other films. There's also a bad guy, the Marquee, played by Bill Skarsgård, who you might recall as being Pennywise in the recent It movies. I did not see those because horror movies frighten me too much, but that's what he's famous for. And then the Marquis, what he does is he's been tasked by the rest of the High Table. He's a member of the High Table, and he's been tasked by the others to take out John Wick. Like that's supposed to be his job. So what he does is he calls in Donnie Yen, who plays Kane, and Kane is a retired hitman, much like John Wick was in the first film. But he calls him in and tells him, look, if you don't kill John Wick, then we're going to kill your daughter, right? So he's a daughter we see at the beginning of the film. And the conflict here is that Kane and John Wick were actually friends, like they're friends going way back, like for decades. And now he has to kill his friend in order to save his child, right? So that's your basic setup here. The movie does go to several different locations. They start out in, I think, an undisclosed area in the Middle East. Then we go to New York City. Then we go to Osaka. Then we go to Berlin, and then Paris. I think those are all our major locations. But yeah, so lots of traveling in this one. Lots of cool cinematography. I'd say great locations. For the John Wick films, I'd say I'd never seen such like incredible violence done with such a beautiful background. Like all the action sequences, the background is like magnificent. You're like, oh, it's all so pretty. Oh, but so many people are getting killed, right? But in such cool ways, so it's okay. Things I liked about this film, the action. Let's start there because that's what these movies are about, right? It's like they're light on plot, big on action, and impressive action. Chad Stahelski, the director, I'm sure, as you already know, but just in case you don't, used to be Keanu Reeves' stunt man. Like he was his stunt person, and that's how they formed a relationship and then started making these films. He is amazing in just the way he choreographs the stunts and the camera work. I will say it is so impressive to me that on this fourth film here, he is still able to make action sequences that are so just creative and unique. I mean, it's like he just thinks of new ways to do things. I mean, in this one, we've got a sequence where cars are being used a lot. There's stairs in one. I don't want to say too much about anything because I don't want to ruin it for you if you haven't seen it because they're just so inventive. It's just like they're the best parts of the movie. There's one that takes place in a chateau in France that is my favorite scene in the movie by far. It's very reminiscent of a video game. That's the best. That's like the best I can describe it without really getting into it. And it's just amazing to watch. I mean, just the camera angles he uses. It's like amazing to watch. Which is why I feel like they just should have a stunt, you know, Oscar at this point. They should have one for choreography, for stunt, and I guess dance. You could put it all together, action and dance, because really something like this should be rewarded. It's just that amazing. So yeah, the action does not disappoint in this. If you're a big fan of action, even if you're not, I would say watch it anyway. It's just impressive, right? The acting in this, I mean, it's not going to win anybody an Oscar, you know, because it's like none of the roles are that deep. Although I did get a little like emotional when John Wick is talking about in one scene what he would like on his tombstone if he were to die. All the characters are kind of talking about like what they would want put on their tombstones if they died, and what he says, it did, you know, it gave me a little bit of like emotion there, so that was good. But yeah, it's like, but everyone fully commits to their characters. I'd say Donnie Yen, who I'd heard of, I know he's very big in like martial arts films and stuff like that. I'd never seen him though in a film until now, and like his reputation is just so well earned. Like he was so impressive, not just in the action sequences but also in the acting. So yeah, I'd say let's see who else is in this. Hiroyuki Sanada plays Koji, who is the manager of the Osaka branch of the Continental. He does a good job as always. He's like a classical Shakespearean actor, I think, and so he's amazing in this. You know, then like there's already Keanu Reeves, there's Ian McShane, Lawrence Fishburne. You know, everyone's doing a good job. Lance Reddick, you know, who sadly passed away, I think about a week or so ago. He does a good job as always, and the film is dedicated to him. They did, because it was like last minute. I think he died like 3 days before the premiere. They had to put that at the very, very, very end. I think they said when it comes to being on digital and the DVD and all that, then I think they're going to put the, you know, like in, you know, memory of earlier on. But they had to get it in there as quick as they could, you know, like, and that's the best they could do. But you know, so that's in there. But yeah, Bill Skarsgård is effective as the villain, I felt. And then there's also a character, Mr. Nobody, who's a bounty hunter, because John Wick, of course, because, you know, he's trying to take out this high table. There's, you know, a big bounty on his head. And he's played by Shamir Anderson, who does a great job. And that character also has a dog, a German Shepherd, that he's trained to, like, attack people. And so, as per tradition with John Wick movies, there is, you know, a main character who is a dog. And a well-used dog. The dog is used a lot in this film. And then let's see who else is there in this. Koji has a daughter named Akira, played by Rina Sawayama, and she does a good job. And they're like, I know they're making, this is the final John Wick film, I do know that, but I know there are hints of possible spin-offs, and I feel like they could do a possible spin-off with her character perhaps. But yeah, like acting all good here. The clothing I love how they dress everyone in these films. The suits, they're so well tailored, and the suits for the different characters are different enough that it gives them personality, you know, like Keanu Reeves' suit with the black, and it's very sleek and everything. And then the Marquee, his suit is, I don't know much about suits, but I think it's what's called triple-breasted, where there's like a vest with it and everything, and the vest is kind of asymmetrical, and that looked really cool. Like I said, Akira, her character, she's wearing this amazing dress that is kimono inspired, but then it's also got like a cape, and it's got kind of like almost like a sci-fi modern like spin on it, you know. That's beautiful. Koji's wearing, you know, it's not it's based off of traditional Japanese clothing, but just like a little twist, right? So all of it's beautiful, all of it's great. I know they're not going to get nominated for any type of Oscars, I'm sure, for like costume on this, because it's not flashy enough, but I really, really do like the look of this film. I think the production value is just amazing. Like I said, the locations look great, the people look great, it's all good. The music, I'm a big fan of Tyler Bates, who does the music for these movies. He also did the score for 300 back in the day, and I really enjoyed that soundtrack, and I enjoy his music here. I think it just makes the movie so distinct, and it just gives it so much personality, and it's used so well. Like the song choices for the songs that are put in here that aren't his score work well, and then the score itself just works great. And I'd say if you're debating on whether to go to a movie theater and see this, or just wait till it comes to streaming and watch it at home, I would go to the movie theater, just because it is a fun movie to watch in a theater with people and their reactions. Like, I went and saw this by myself because my husband and I, we have 3 kids, so we don't get to see a lot of movies together. Usually we tag team them, you know, and so he's going to be seeing it later this week. But yeah, so I went, and so there were just, you know, all these other people around watching it with me, but, you know, I'm watching by myself. But it was just fun, like when funny things happen, like people would react well, when, like, you know, there was like a super great action sequence, people would cheer. It's just like it's a fun experience to have. Like, so I would suggest, if you can, see it in the theater. It's not like, you know, if you can only watch it on streaming, if you don't have time or whatever to go out right now and see it, that's fine. It'll still be okay. But I think just for the action sequences and everything to get the full effect, it's probably best in the theater. And like I said, it's fun. It's fun to watch with other people. Problems I had with this film, they're not so great. It's too long. It's like 3 hours, and that's so long. And they just could have cut down a few things. Some of the action sequences, as great as they are, do go on a little long. So I think they could have shaved those down a bit. I think they could have shaved down a few scenes here and there to get it more in at like maybe 2.5, you know. It's too long at 3 hours. 3 hours is too long for most movies, you know. There's very few films that need to be 3 hours. There were also too many instances in this movie of John Wick, like, falling from a building several stories up and then surviving. And, like, it's like I don't expect realism from these films, because obviously that, you know, left the building a long time ago, realism. But I do expect it to be not so outlandish that, like, it takes me out of it. And I was taken out of this film a few times because, I mean, he falls so many times from stuff that it's like, okay, that would kill you. And, like, I think he got hit by a car or something, and I was like, he should be dead. Okay, he's not. And it wasn't just him. The main bad guy, the Marquee, he has this henchman, this head henchman, who, that guy, I thought he was dead, like, so many times in this film, and he was not, because he just fell off of stuff, got hit by stuff, got shot. I mean, so many things happened to him that he should have been dead. And then they would have the thing happen to him, and then he'd lay there like he was dead. And I thought, okay, he's been taken out. And then all of a sudden he pops back up like 2 minutes later. And I was like, okay, that's a bit much. So for me, a little much. I will say the ending I thought was okay. There are parts of it that left me unsatisfied. And I'll discuss that in a spoiler review that I'm going to do, because it's hard, honestly, for me to discuss any details about this film that aren't spoilers, because between the action sequences, I don't want to go into detail on those or ruin them for people, and the other things that I would need to go further into would be like major spoilers, so I'm not going to do that. Let's see. Other than that, though, I mean, overall, it's a good film. It's a fun film. If you enjoyed the other John Wick films, you'll enjoy this one. I'm pretty confident that you will. If you don't like any of those, I don't think this one's going to change your mind. I will say they have announced that this is the last one, so I think it is a good ending to the series. I think the series overall is great. If I had to give this like a star rating, I'd give it a 3 out of 5. Like, if it was only on action sequence alone, it'd be a 5. But based on some plot holes, and like I said, some problems I have with the ending and the length of it, I'd say, yeah, 3 out of 5. Like, definite fun time at the movie theater. Not the greatest film ever, but, you know, one that you should totally check out. So yeah, that's my review of John Wick Chapter 4. What did you guys think of that movie? Leave your comments in the comments. Let me know what you thought. Did you like it, not like it? Thought it was a good ending to the series? We're wishing there were more in the series, you know? Just let me know. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!